Through Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi's third verse, we are going to see today in the Satsang the reality. What he says, what is the verse? Let's first see the verse in its original form in Tamil. உலகு மெய் பொய் தோற்றம் உலகறிவாம் அன்றென்று உலக சுகம் அன்றென்று உரைத்தென் உலகு விட்டு தன்னை ஓர்ந்து ஒன்றிரண்டு தானற்று நானற்ற அந்நிலை எல்லார்க்கும் ஒப்பாம். உலகு மெய் பொய் தோற்றம் உலகறிவாம் அன்றென்று உலகு சுகம் அன்றென்று உரைத்து என் உலகு விட்டு தன்னை ஓர்ந்து ஒன்றிரண்டு தானற்று நானற்ற அந்நிலை எல்லாருக்கும் ஒப்பாம். This is the verse. What he says? If we go on reading various books to know about ourselves, we are actually off the track. We are going actually off the track. We are wandering in the forest of words, letters and books. If we go on listening to various people, seeking an external agency to guide me, to make me go within myself, it cannot happen that way. That is the basic understanding we have to realize first. Atma Vidya, or the knack of knowing oneself, the real self, has to happen only within oneself. Only he has to do. What does he need? What he needs is tremendous sincerity, honesty, integrity throughout his waking state. That is the only ingredient. That is the eligibility. That is what he needs. Bhagavan says here, instead of wandering in this world, searching for truth outside in the cosmos, because we are nothing but the world throughout our waking state. Some entity, when it arises from the deep sleep, it itself is the world. I am the world, you are the world. If you are not the world, even in your deep sleep, you should cognize the world. With the shutting down of senses, sensory organs, those perceptions, and the mind goes somewhere deep, not to be traced anywhere, without name and form, not holding anything at all as its content in the deep sleep. Where is the world? What kind of world it is? Our everyday waking state momentary experiences is the world coming us and informing that it exists? Does the sun, the rising of the sun, the midday sun, does it come and say that it is there, or individuals or the animated beings, all including human beings, all the animal, all the complete manifested things, Am I cognizing the sun's arisal, or does it come and inform me? Who cognizes what? This is what is called as Viveka. Vivekam, they say in Tamil. Or in English, discrimination. Discrimination between the real and the unreal. Who cognizes what? Am I cognizing the world through my senses, or does the world come and inform me anything at all? Does the world cognize me, or am I cognizing the world? This is discrimination. This is that actually all the misunderstandings and the misconceptions are all set right by one probing oneself. What is this investigation? What is this investigation of the self? It's a software. It's a software. It's a natural, illusory software without a beginning. It has been there. It is there. It will be there. Unless one is honest, one is sincere, one really wants to understand what this software is all about. That's why at the very beginning I said, what does one need? What is the eligibility? It is sincerity. I want to know about myself. Who is this software? Whose is this software? What is this software? What are these thoughts continuously wandering in my consciousness, in my mind, and making me to like and dislike, love and hate, accept and reject, all sorts of maneuverings. What is this software? I am taking personal interest in knowing about this software, because this is the very software which is expressing itself through its all kinds of thoughts and registrations and everything, and it is what is called life. Every moment of the mind's movements is what is being expressed as this entity. Is there anything else called life? Bhagavan says here in this, especially in this verse, we saw the last verse. Mummudalai emmadalum emmadamum murkullum or mudale. That was the verse. That is all the three, the individual, the Jagat, and the godliness or the transcendent state. Do all these things exist? There he started introducing, is there any reality in all these things? They expressed, the observed. Do the observed things hold any reality in it? That question he asked in the previous verse. Now in this verse, he goes still into the subject of this cosmos, the expression of cosmos, the perception of the individual in the cosmos of different feelings and different sensations, different brandings, different labelings, and transacting with the world and identifying his body as himself, as I, and the things of the world, and the pleasures of the world as true and real, seeking and going after them as mine. All these things is just bringing back the serious seeker to the right track of the probe. What is the right track of the probe? What is that place? In the first line, Bhagavan says, உலகு மெய் பொய் தோற்றம் உலகு அறிவு உலகு அறிவாம் உண்டு அன்று என்று, like that. உலகு மெய் பொய். See, we have innumerable arguments in our mind. It only confuses about the world's existence. The world's existence, because we are waking up to the same repeated everyday morning, to the same sunrise, the same place geographically where we are located, the same relationships, everything, we are going on beaten up by those only experiences, the fixed, still like visuals that has already set in, and that has made us dull, and we are not probed about it at all. Consistent, persistent experience of the same everyday waking state remains the same almost for everyone. They see nothing new. Only their motives, in their motives, they think they have advanced financially, in status they have come up, in seeking pleasures they are getting everything, not getting anything. So all these differences. For this, the world also dilutes that individual from outside. It is also parallelly like a mega set of a film. How the directors, they construct the set for a particular shot, they create the almost real like situation, and the scene is being shot there. In the same way, simultaneously, when the individual wakes up, everything is there, a world for him to transact with, abundant space to move in and around, travel, experience, and getting as if satisfied over a particular experience, not satisfied over a particular experience, and as if he is approaching from his center as body and mind towards that experience, and arguments about this experience, counter arguments about this experience, as world, as an entity, its existence or non-existence is always in the background. Why always there is a anxiety in everyone to attain to things and pleasures? Because they are going on changing. They are all fleeting things. We wake up with our complete past registrations until the moment before sleep where we left with those particular experiences. We pursue them the moment the mind or the consciousness as this I amness, this entity has this name and this form, wakes up from deep sleep and pursues it, and then is equally as if unchanged, the events and everything are there for him to pursue and continue it. What Bhagavan says? Come back. Don't get, this is irrelevant. Do not probe into the reality of the existence of world or non-existent part of it. Whether the world has pleasures to give you or it doesn't have pleasures to give you. Through all the 5 sensory organs, we pursue the pleasures, no? The ego, the very movement of our mind is with a motive to attain, to get some experience. A pleasure-seeking trip is always there in the background. Even avoiding discomfort, even avoiding uncomfortable situations, to run away from that, even that is also included in pleasure seeking. So the very motive of the one center, software center, that is what is termed as ego. Bhagavan has already started in the 2nd verse. Now we are getting to the 3rd verse. He now specifically from the angle of the world as a cosmos, do not get into the argument at all. It is irrelevant. You need not probe there at all. Don't waste your time. He is putting us on the right track. Come back. Come back immediately. Don't get into argument. Do not entertain whether the world exists or not. Are there worldly pleasures or not? Are they really pleasurable or not? This is not the area of investigation at all. That is what is the greatness of Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. He doesn't allow one to wander in unwanted arguments. He cuts short the unwanted things and brings him back immediately to the track. Get into yourself. Drop all those extraneous things totally. Come back to your mind. Come back within yourself. We have been seeing right through that the only medium by which a human being's life is carried out is nothing but the thoughts. Thoughts as audio as well as video. They are all already registered as past experiences in one's mind. That only wakes up and it replays. Every day is a replay for a consciousness or a mind which has not known the source from which it arises and it sits in the deep sleep. For the consciousness which has not probed. And what is the eligibility? The eligibility is seriousness, sincerity, honesty. For example, see, whenever we have gone to some function or some other place as a picnic, we used to carry the camera and we shoot lot of stills. Stills as well as video, running video. The moment we return to our home, what is the primary interest of everyone? Everyone wants to see how do they look, how did they appear in the photo, how did they appear in the video. No one will be interested in seeing others' faces at all. Firstly, when the still is shown, each one's gaze will be only on their face, on their appearance, particular appearance. According to their standard, they would have branded, I looked well or I have not looked well, mediocre, nasty, all these things. Because mind is impregnated with visuals and its labels. That is what is our life. Mind is, waking state is nothing but the mind expressing itself as that individual, his bondage over his past registrations, and whatever he sees, that is also his own expression. In the same way, as we see our photos, how do we appear? How did we appear? In the stills. In the same way, within ourselves, really who the entity is called as me, I. Really, the real face. In one place in the Bible, Jesus says, I was before Abraham was. The real face, the authentic face. Nothing else, the reality. It is not a face, it is not a visual, it is not a thought, it is not a sound. I should be earnest in knowing what is my source. It is not source, it is actually me. Source and the expressed are not different. Behind a movie, there is a director already who has conceived the theme. Is there? No. The same way, Bhagavan says here, come back. Get settled in yourself. The complete multiplicity, the manifested with the mind, with that one center, where does it disappear? For practical purpose, how do we do this? Where everything originates. Everything originates from within. This from within is a word, relative word we are using here. Because the moment I say we or I, it immediately denotes a particular location as this physical appearance. That is why I will have to use this from within. Everything arises from within. The moment you close your eyes and do dhyana, from where does your thought arise? If you start looking at that place, the moment you close your eyes, is it inside or outside? Where do you actually stay there in that particular moment? Why at all your word as inside or outside? That's why we will have to take sincere interest in knowing ourselves. The very first two lines categorically Bhagavan directs us, leave the argument over the world's existence or non-existence, the worldly pleasures existence or non-existence. Leave them, drop them. Half of the thought movements are quenched, silenced. You get this? We will continue the second part of this satsang in our next meeting.